Well, without further ado, I think we should get started. We want to welcome you to the Harmony of the Seas webinar. We want to give you a couple of quick housekeeping notes. This call will be recorded so that those people who can't be on this webinar call today, video call, I guess, can watch it after hours, or those of you that are on the call might want to watch it again. So we'll send it to everyone, even if you were on the call. So for those of you that are on the call, please put your questions in the Q&A section of the webinar. If you're watching after hours, then you can email us your questions and we'll be happy to answer them. We're going to cover a lot of the questions that you may already have in the webinar. So hello, I'm Connie Saunders and Maureen.
Hi, everybody. Good morning. As many of you know, we are probably coming to you from the Explorer of the Seas. We are on board, sailing, I think, on our way to Greece. We are on board the week before. We have a cruise, another Celiac Cruise next week. So we're coming to you from a sea day. So this is why it's a little earlier than normal. But again, we will be recording this, but we're getting everything ready for next week for another cruise. So yes, we are spending some time in Europe this summer, but for very good reason. Yes, just an overview a little bit of what we're going to talk about today. There's your beautiful ship right there on the right. You're in for quite a treat if you have not sailed on an Oasis class ship before. There is so much to do, inclusive of that stunning aqua theater right there. But this is just an overview. You can read that of kind of what we're going to talk about today, and then we will answer your questions at the end.
Once again, put them in the Q&A, please. So the Port of Barcelona, logistics. The Barcelona airport is about 20 to 30 minutes away. We're hoping that many of you are flying in the night before so that you don't have to worry about any travel delays or anything like that. We will send you a Barcelona gluten-free guide so that you will know if there's anything available in Barcelona and what that is. Taxis and Bolt. So they don't really use Uber there. They use Bolt. But if you can use Uber, you can use Bolt. It's very similar, and that's what they use. Readily available. It's an easy trip. There's hotels that we sent out earlier in the year, but the Port of Barcelona, there's the address, and that address is going to be in your cruise documents that are sent in your online Royal Caribbean application. So it's on the online, from your computer, that login, not in your app. So your boarding passes and your cruise documents and all that will be online for you.
And those are two areas in Barcelona underneath the hotel section that I had put. Well, you go back real quick aside there. Obviously, we are on the search for all the wonderful gluten-free places in Barcelona, which there are plenty, which you will see. And I've been told that's kind of the hot spot. So my family, we're actually staying in the Gothic Quarter. We'll be on the week before, again, doing the pre-cruise, but that's where we'll be staying. But there's plenty to choose from. So I know many of you are probably doing the pizza party with Matt. I know he was trying so hard to try and get more space because that was such a popular thing, which I think caught him by surprise, which is very exciting. But that there is, I know there's a wait list as well. So stay tuned. I know he's working really hard to see if we can create more space, but thanks for your support with that. It sounds like it's going to be a great night.
Yes. Royal Caribbean check-in is now open. It will close 3 days before you sail. So that would be probably, if we sail on a Sunday, then that's going to probably be that Thursday or Wednesday is when it would close. So make sure you go ahead and do that now. Just get it over with, get it done. You can do all your online check-in, and then it's very easy. You'll select a boarding time and you'll get on the ship, on the day of the cruise. The thing we want to stress, and we get so many emails and we get so many questions about this, so we're going to say it a couple of different times on this webinar, but do not worry about your selection boarding time. So if your boarding time is 3 o'clock, don't worry about it. Just come on over to the ship and go ahead and get on board, because our lunch is going to be available from 11:30 to 1:30 in the main dining room on deck 5, and also from 11:30 to 2 in the Solarium Bistro. So just come on. If you shouldn't have any issue, they don't really keep track of the time anymore. They don't have, if for some reason the port gets clogged up, just tell them that you're with the Celiac Cruise and they usually let you ride on. But it's not something you need to worry about. We've done 34, 35 of these now, and it used to be very strict. It's just not anymore because they get people right on. So please read those words with confidence. Do not worry. Here again, arrive as close to your boarding time or anytime after 11. Print your luggage tags at home. What we did is we printed all of the ones we knew we were going to need at home before we left, and we stuck them in the suitcase. We stayed in the hotel the night before, and then we took them out the day of the cruise and added them to the luggage. So you might want to do that as well. Remember the lunch on main dining room. You'll need to show your lunch ticket at the top there above that beautiful cake. I'm hungry. Above the beautiful cake, you'll see a sample of a lunch ticket, which we will send you next week, or the final email that comes out. We'll send you the lunch ticket. And with that one, you can just show it on your phone. Only one per party. Not everybody in your party needs to see it, but if you don't bring your lunch ticket, then you can still get in. We'll just have to look up your name on the list. But the cabins usually open around 1:30. So this gives you a chance to come on board, have a nice leisurely lunch either in the dining room, or a really quick lunch. If you want to eat and go, then that would be the place for you, would be the Solarium Bistro, because with that one you'll want to eat and then go out and explore the ship. Whereas in the main dining room, it's a little more relaxed. You sit down and they're served. And then we'll have a welcome aboard reception from 1 to 3 in the conference room on deck. Oh, there's no conference room. Actually, we're going to have the
Yes.
Welcome Aboard Expo is going to be in the dining room this time. We just changed it today. Sorry. So you'll see it on your schedule that we're going to send, but the Welcome Aboard Expo is going to be in the main dining room on deck 5 from 1 to 3. So that's where you're going to get your wristbands, your lanyards, your t-shirts, all the goodies that we got you will be from 1 to 3 right after you've had lunch.
So day one, it's a little crazy. So we always say pack some patience, and many of you will be traveling a long way. There's much to learn about the ship. Again, like what we kind of encourage people to do is just kind of go find your way around the ship. One thing that I always notice, day one, before 1:30, no one can get into a cabin. So it's never going to feel as busy as it did up until 1:30, because from that point on for the rest of the cruise, large percentage of people are always going to be in the cabin at that point in time. So you'll never feel that much, congestion. And also people don't know where they're going. The elevators are crowded because everybody's got suitcases, and nobody's taking the stairs because they've got luggage. So, keep that in mind. Remember this statement. It only gets a lot calmer after those first few hours. And then you'll have your nice, relaxing lunch with 2 options of where to go. It's going to be a great, great week. So we have a few options, like we said, for lunch. Main dining room is where, if you have additional dietary restrictions, the culinary team has requested that you actually try, if possible, to go to the main dining room. They just have a little bit more flexibility in terms of what they're able to, preparations. Whereas a Solarium Bistro is, it's a buffet, a lovely buffet at that, but don't feel like you're missing out on anything, because there'll be wonderful options in both locations. That beautiful cake that you saw might not look just like that. We have different versions every single cruise that will be served at dinner. So don't feel like if you go to one place, you're missing the cake. Cake is a big hit, which is why I'm talking about it. Of course, the cake's a big hit. We come for the cake, right? But that's something important, just so people don't feel like they're missing the cake is there. But there are additional options on the ship, and this will be the case throughout the whole week. Park Cafe is on deck 8. We will have prepackaged sandwiches and coming from our dedicated gluten-free galley. So those will be available too. Sorrento's Pizza we'll have a dedicated oven there with dedicated prep station, toppings, pizza cutter, you name it. We have an entire formal protocol that we go through with them the training week. So that's also an option. If you get on board, for some reason it's 4 o'clock or something like that, and you're starving. Not that you should come at 4 because I think the ship leaves around then. Please don't come at 4. We'll miss you. Come before then. But anyways, you'll have the expo, and like Connie said, the only time that you will have to show that lunch ticket is at lunch, which is why we call it a lunch ticket, because at that point you will have your wristbands, and we really ask, please wear your wristbands because that's how we know you should be with us, and we're keeping our venues safe for our guests. We're going to have a sail away party. We'll get you all those details as to where all that information will be coming in our final email that you will get very soon, with all the locations, main dining room. There's dinner. We're going to have a kids hangout, meet up that night, another adult mix and mingle, and then late night snacks. So just in case you're hungry again, and as many of you know who have sailed with us before, the word snack is kind of a joke. And it is not a snack. It is a fourth meal. So come hungry, be ready. It's going to be a day of eating, or 7 days of eating, I guess I should say. So yes.
The only thing I want to emphasize is dining is to please be prompt. So it says 5 to 5:15. We want to try to have everybody seated, as close to 5:15 as possible, so that we can make sure that everybody gets the service they deserve and gets a big, amazing dinner on deck 5 at 5. So remember, we recommend the main dining room for boarding day, unless you want something quick where you can get out, get in, get out, get done. If you want to head to the pools, you want to head to the hot tubs, you want to, start exploring the ship, then maybe the solarium is the way to go because it's just in and out, you're done. Whereas the main dining room is more relaxed and more upscale. Any kind of additional dietary restrictions, though, like Maureen said, please go to the main dining room so that you can talk to someone. When in doubt, always just speak to a chef, ask one of our crew, and we'll be happy to introduce you to a chef, and be happy to make sure that you can talk to a chef, especially if there's a buffet, because they cook the food, so they know what's in the food. So that way, if you have an additional dietary restriction, they can help with that. Here's a copy of the onboard dining guide. It's a copy, it's a sample. This is the wrong cruise completely because we didn't want you to try to take a screenshot of this because it's not quite all the way finished yet. We expect to have this finished later this week, and we'll send it out to you as quickly as we can. But pretty much on the first day, lunch is just going to be in those two places, the Solarium Bistro and the main dining room. And then every day, you can see here the breakfast options. If you want to go to the solarium, you can go to the park cafe, you can go to the main dining room. If for dinner, Sorrento's Pizza, you can see all these. On this dining guide, you'll have ones that have dedicated places and some that are shared venues. And we're very clear to note those on the dining guide. There is ice cream on the pool deck with gluten-free ice cream cleanse. So we pretty much thought of everything. Anything else about the dining guide?
No, just that will be another document again that will be coming in that final newsletter that we're referencing here. So we encourage you to print that out or take, just a screenshot on your phone and, favorite it so you have access to it through the week.
So on a Royal Caribbean cruise ship, you always get iced tea, ice water, regular and decaf coffee, juice, and milk free. Everything else you have to pay for. So you pay for bottled waters and specialty coffees and Starbucks and sodas, alcohol and beer, smoothies, milkshakes, all those things cost. So you can either buy a package to be all-inclusive drinks, or you can buy it by the drink. So you can buy Holidaily by the drink. You can buy a bottle of water by the drink. You can buy a Starbucks and buy it by the drink. So we will have Holidaily gluten-free beer made from gluten-free ingredients on board the ship, like we always do. And it will be available in the drink package, or you can just buy it by the drink. We'll have some samples for you to sample on day one so that you can try it, both of the kinds that we'll have on board the ship. And the samples will be just a little taste so that you know how good they are, because some of you don't live in an area where Holidaily is shipped yet. So this is a great way for you to have it. And of course, every day should be a sea day, right? So every day needs to be a holiday on a sea day. So that's why that's there. All the ingredients for all the mixers and all the alcohol will be vetted by the Celiac Disease Foundation and Maureen on board the ship here this week. The CDF is on board and they're checking all the ingredients and checking all the labels. Even the straws, which are strawfish, are safe. They don't contain any gluten. Every label is checked. Everything is checked so that you don't have to worry. So we're the only two things that are on board that contain gluten at this point are typically the twisted tea and also the gluten-containing beers. So that's why we offer a gluten-free beer. And if there's anything different, we'll let you know as we do our checks this week. So there's wonderful things to do. Maureen, this picture is just, I remember Patrick doing this. He had a great time.
So much. I mean, this ship, you name it. I don't know if you can do everything, even if you stayed here for 3 weeks. The flow rider, there, I mean, there's a carousel. There's a real carousel on this ship. That there's a zip line on this ship. And as many of you know, I think we probably talked about it just in the beginning when this and in the Facebook group, but this ship was also recently revitalized. I think that's what Royal calls it. So lots of areas are going to look very fresh and new. I know the Starbucks was just relocated. They have a new pesky parrot bar. So there's a lot of really fun new things that have just been updated. So we have a brand new ship in so many ways. So that's fun. But yes, there's the flow riders. There's two, hence the plural there. There's tons of water slides, laser tag, miniature golf, escape room, rock climbing wall, ice skating, Broadway style shows, tons of pools. Just a wonderful, wonderful ship. Dare I say, one of my favorites. So you guys are in for a real treat.
And I just want to say, if you want to do ice skating, make sure you bring pants and socks. So it doesn't have to be jeans, but it just needs to be long pants. And then if you want to do the rock climbing, you do need to have socks. So those are both complimentary, fun things to do, but you do need to have the clothing.
So what happens? So as you know, we're here this week just for this reason. This We're about to sail next week, cruise number 35, and we are proud to say we have yet to have a gluten incident in which something wrong has been served to our guests. So, and that I think is because every single cruise we treat like it is the first time we've ever done this. Even though we have a lot of repeat culinary individuals, what's really awesome is so many of them just love, love, love being a part of this. So they asked to come back, want to be a part of the Celiac Cruise, which is pretty refreshing compared to how we normally feel out in the real world. But as you know, we are here this week doing a site inspection, the training week as well. So we walk through every single venue with the culinary team, the head chef, the sous chefs. I mean, it's quite a scene. We're walking down the hallway with 20 very large white hats. People turn around, spin their heads going, what is going on here? But that's what happens. So every venue is reviewed collectively with the Celiac Disease Foundation, protocols put in place. And that is, each ship is a little bit different. So we set each thing accordance to what, to ensure everyone's safety. So there is not events or incidents. So every ingredient, so we will be going down into the underwater of the ship where they store all of our products that have come on board in a separate location with a lock and key. Every ingredient is reviewed, every box, everything that has come on board. We check it again to ensure there is no gluten-containing products there, as well as, comparing them to the menus. So we're looking at the menu, seeing certain sauces and then saying, okay, what is going in this sauce. So we're looking at side by side so we know exactly what's going in it. Um, uh, and then we will do full inspection and galley reviews throughout the entire week as well. But yes, so we'll do galley walks before everyone comes on board just to make sure everything is in tip-top safe shape. But yes, I mean this team, it's cute because they're nervous, they're scared because they just take it so serious, which um, you know, we don't want to scare people, but at the same time, I think it's just a testament to how committed Royal Caribbean is to this. I mean, all of our cruise partners are so committed to it, but it's pretty marvelous to see how much time is spent this week and throughout the week, even when we're on board, because every night we have a debrief, reviewing of everything, even if it's just oh, I think this was, the rolls were a little bit the product stuff too. So not just all about gluten, but also just those normal food and beverage type things. So they truly, truly care. They want you all to have a marvelous, the best week of your life. So that is their goal. So we are here to push that and make that happen. And also in addition, the training that happens. I kind of jumped over that. So we will be training. You'll see Vanessa down there in that bottom picture. So we will be on board training all of the culinary team. So all of the chefs are trained, sous chefs, head chefs, anybody wearing a white hat is trained on these ships, which is, I think, pretty remarkable that they will have some form of celiac disease training as they move forward in their careers as well. So we're kind of proud that we're hopefully leaving a little legacy for the hospitality industry, that as people move forward, even if they move on to a different career in at a resort or something like that, they take a little bit away from that training that they've learned. The why, no one is choosing to be here by chance of, I have to eat like this. That's learning that is, I think, an important thing that we try and drive home to them as well. But the kids club is trained, the bartenders are trained, the dishwashers are trained, guest services is trained. So we spend a lot of time in trainings just to make sure everybody has a clear understanding of the safety that is necessary and what this entails. So
Awesome. Throughout the week, we're going to have several philanthropic events where we're going to have meetups and kids events, keynote presentation. A lot of these are complimentary, but we do have some philanthropic events that do cost. Those are fundraising events. All the money that we raise goes to feed families that can't afford gluten-free food. We work with the Celiac Disease Foundation to make sure that we work with families that need the food. So we do have a cocktail party and silent disco that's available on day 3. Taste of Royal, which is an incredible multi-course lunch that's paired with a cocktail or mocktail. And it's an amazing lunch. It's, steak and filet, and they take different elements of their specialty restaurants and they bring them into this one lunch. So the lunch does cost, but will be the highlight of your week if you're a foodie. People just love it. We're going to have a mini golf tournament, a holiday beer tasting event that will be where you get to try some beers that aren't on the cruise that you can't buy. So it'll be a great way for you to have fun as well as try some of the new beers. Coffee and conversation, that's typically one of our highest rated events because we just sit around. It's for adults, it's an adult kind of conversation where we just sit around having coffee, danishes, pastries, amazing gluten-free options, and we just talk. It's a great way to get to know some of your fellow cruisers, and some of them in the past have become friends for life. We do have an ice skating on day 3 that is complimentary, and if it's sold out, we probably will be able to add more. So just ask about that if it shows that it's sold out. But a lot of events, you should have received your email from us about the events, and you can sign up and pay for the ones that need to be paid for, or the free ones you can sign up right away. The big event is our keynote presentation by both Megan Donnelly from the Celiac Disease Foundation, and also Melanie Person. So, Megan, wow, she's amazing. She's been on several of our cruises. She's a registered dietitian. She's also the Director of Education and Communication at Celiac Disease Foundation. So she's going to be doing a great program at our keynote presentation. This is complimentary. We ask that you sign up for it so we know how many are coming, but you will love her presentation. Awesome. And then Melanie is the Master Chef Australia contestant, who is also known as the Very Hungry Celiac, spelled Coeliac, because she's from Australia. And so I got to meet her when we had our Australia cruises, and she's incredible. What she has described to Maureen and I that she's going to be doing is a presentation, a cooking demonstration virtually. She'll be there, but the cooking will be done virtually, and she's going to explain what she's doing as she's cooking, and you'll see from start to finish what she's doing without any interruption. So it's really going to be a cool event, complimentary as well, but she has lots of cookbooks, and she's just a fabulous chef. And so we thought, what a great opportunity for her to come and do this. So, Cruising 101. We talked about day one being patient. Maureen did a good job about that. This is a beautiful ship, so there's plenty of space for everyone. You're never going to feel really crowded except on day one. You might have a little wait on the elevator, but this is a spectacular ship. You're in for a real treat. We talked about the drink packages, holidays included. Dining packages in the key, we do not recommend either one of those. The dining packages are where you pay to go to specialty restaurants, and unfortunately, those have shared kitchens. So we don't recommend those. And the key is a program where you pay to come on board and have a really nice lunch, sit down lunch somewhere. Well, guess what? You are part of Celiac Cruise, so you already get to come on board and have a really nice sit down lunch. So you don't need to worry about the key or dining packages. This is one of those cruises where you do need to sign up for your shows, the ice skating shows, the aqua theater shows, the main theater shows. But don't worry, if there's not space available, they do hold some back for the first day when you board. As soon as you get on board, you can get in your app and reserve. And if you can't reserve even that way, you can show up standby. 15 minutes before the show, they open the doors to anyone. So even if you don't have a reservation, you go 14 minutes before, and as long as there's room, you can sit anywhere you want. In the ports of call, unfortunately, you can't take food off the ship. It's a legal requirement, but we suggest you eat before or after. We will give you some gluten-free bars in your bag, your welcome bags. But most people find that they're able to, have a big breakfast or, wait and have a big dinner. If there's anywhere in any of the ports along the way, we'll include that in the dining guide. Motion sickness, I don't think you'll have to worry about it. The seas are very calm, it's beautiful, and this is a really, really big ship. But if you're concerned, you can ask your doctor for a scopolamine patch, or you can get over-the-counter ones that aren't prescription grade, that are just herbs, also wristbands and things I've seen. But I wouldn't worry about it too much. You're in the Mediterranean in the summer, it should be pretty easy. Embarkation and disembarkation. So I'll just finish this slide. With disembarkation, we will have breakfast on the last day. We get that question at least 10 times every sailing. We do have breakfast on the last day. So you'll need to be out of your cabins by 8, and we have breakfast till 8. So just leave your cabin a little early, come on up and have breakfast, and then you can get off on your way. So we'll go through that a little bit more.
So I know Connie talked about this a little bit, but obviously all this is kind of a good overview what's free. The kids clubs are phenomenal. I mean, they're doing science projects in there. I think it's definitely not one of those kids clubs that you should feel bad about leaving your kid if you just need some quiet time. They meet other kids in there. Like we said, we train the kids clubs. So if there's any gluten containing items, arts and crafts things, those will be removed. But they'll have a good awareness. And so we try and actually encourage them to, kind of introduce them to other kids in our group. So you're kind of creating those relationships even through those environments. We have a lot of kids coming, which, as I said earlier, it's a lot of fun. So we're really excited about that. But the rock climbing wall is included. Ice skating is free. The flow rider, they do have some private surf times because obviously when you're doing the flow rider, you should be expected. There's a short line. But they're really great. They give everybody, every child, every adult, like adequate time. And they're also kind of teaching you as you go. It's fun to try. I've even tried it. And it's not too painful when you fall. So go for it if you're feeling, you know, thrillish. The entertainment, the shows are amazing. That's all included. I know some people are concerned about reservations as it relates to the shows. Like even if things are showing sold out, do not worry. That's another big do not worry. I've yet to be able to get into a show that I want to. The Aqua Theater, that too. A lot of times, of course, the first night, everybody wants to go to the Aqua Theater show. They're going to show that same show 3 or 4 more times, maybe even 5 more times throughout the week. What they normally do is, so you have a reservation, then they open it up to those who do not have reservations 15 minutes before the show. And there's plenty of seating. The only exception that I would say to that I've ever experienced would be that Aqua Theater night one. But the rest of the time, it's not been a problem. So if you go into that app and you see, there's no availability for these shows, you're not going to have a problem later in the week finding getting into the other times in the shows. Obviously, spa treatments, Wi-Fi, things like that, the specialty restaurants, laser tag, things like that, you will have extra. Those incur a cost.
You'll be receiving an onboard dining guide very soon, as well as an itinerary. You'll also get the dining guide for Barcelona and any of the ports of call. If there's anything to eat in the ports of call that any gluten-free places will make sure to include those. The dining guide there, the top left, is a sample from a different cruise we had, but you'll see the hours of the bistro, the main dining room, the windjammer, like for late night snacks, the ice cream cones, where they are, as well as, the alcohol beverages. If we find anything different, that'll be there. But this is just your guide. We suggest that you make a picture of it on your phone or, keep the link open so that you can see it even if you're not on Wi-Fi, just so you can see what the dining guide is. And then the itineraries below that, you'll get a copy of that as well. And that's all the activities that we do. We'll have a whiteboard in front of our both venues before every meal with all of that day's activities. So just be sure, one of the things that we ask you to do is to make a picture of the whiteboard when you come in, because the whiteboard's going to have all of today's events on it so that you don't have to worry. Our events are not in the planner. They are not in the Royal Caribbean app because our events are all private and you have to have the wristband to get in. So make sure you show your wristband every time you come to eat or every time that you go to one of our events so that we know that you're part of the group, because if not, we'll have to ask you to show us the wristband. So you'll be getting these in the email very soon. So this is our last slide. We want to thank you for, joining us this afternoon, but also we want to talk about our thank you cards. So we started this program recently where we bring some thank you cards that we are going to provide to you complimentary. You'll probably want to make sure you have a pen in your purse or a pen in your, in your cabin somewhere. And you can write this to your favorite server or your cabin steward. If you want to, guests were always asking us, gosh, they've gone above and beyond. How can I tip them more? Your gratuities you've already paid for because you're already part of Celiac Cruise, and that's part of our contract with Royal is that we have to prepay our gratuities. It's non-negotiable. But, a lot of people want to give extra. And so that's what this is for you to write a kind note or stick some kind money in there for them for going above and beyond. So we'll go start handing those out the last night and then the night before the last night, just for you to be able to write those and get those prepared for the people that you want to thank the most.
And like I said earlier, the servers, and what's really fun is obviously after doing 34 to date. 35 will be next week. So you guys will be number 36. We've seen a lot of repeat, even servers, bartenders, things like that. And they're always like, yes, Celiac Cruise. I was so happy when I heard that you guys were coming back and I would be here. So that's just a sample of the energy and just kind of love that this entire group puts forth towards us, and that comes from all of you. That's the feeling that our community has given back to these people, and they're just really touched that they know that, this is special for us. This is not, just a cruise where we can just order, the food like we can always order. This is a cruise. This is an experience that we're able to finally just order off a menu, just go into a CO buffet and pick things without having to have those endless questions. So they're really touched by it as well. So I think you'll be excited.
So it's time for some questions.
Yes. All right. So let's see. Oh, there's that aqua theater too. Can you tell I like the aqua theater?
I like the aqua theater too.
And so just so you know, there's also, so right in the front, those empty rows. I have to talk about this. See the empty rows? That's what they call the wet zone. So essentially, they splash but there's a group, specifically my children who will be here too, who love to get soaking wet through each. Those seats are usually always available. So if you don't care about getting wet, I'll take back what I said about night one, and you can probably sit right down there. They are very nice and they give you towels. So, so there's that. But there's always a group of our kids, and they all kind of run together. It's beautiful by the end of the week, but they'll always go. So if your kid wants to go sit with them in the front row, and for each aqua show, they're there to do that. So, but like I said, we'll have those kid meetups and things like that early on so the kids can connect. Oh, perfect question. Goes right into it. What age do you consider teen adults? We have an 18-year-old and don't want her to feel old at one event and young at the other. So, I mean, I think we list our teens as, the 15 to 18 group, but we kind of bulk the 12 to 18-year-olds together. But I will tell you, we have a lot of 15 to 18-year-olds. So I think she will feel comfortable in that group, because that is like a large percentage. I think, what did we say? 50? I think there's
Yes.
50,
Yes.
15 to 18-year-olds in our group, let alone the rest of the ship, but just in our group. So I think she'll feel comfortable. Yes, of course, there may be some younger ones in there, but I think she'll find her people. Um, is the teen meetup for Celiac Cruise only? If you're a sibling or a family member, I mean, of course, you're welcome to come join. Of course, I mean, you're traveling with us. We don't have any requirements of diagnoses or needing to be, but that's kind of obviously our group connecting. That's their opportunities to be together. Um, will food be marked as containing wheat? I know some gluten-free flours. Oh, well,
Oops.
I know it's okay. I know the question. I know obviously in Europe, there is more use of the gluten-free wheat starch. To date, like I said, we will be doing that product walk beforehand and the ingredient vetting. As far as I know, we have no gluten-free wheat starch on board. If that is different, you all will know about it. And if it is different, there would more than likely be, like, at one point, I think we had the Char croissant. Obviously, it's from Char. Char Europe uses some of those products, so you all would be informed. So we would more than likely probably let you know by putting it on the placard. In the Solarian Bistro contains gluten-free wheat starch. But I will tell you, if there are products, it's probably going to be very, very few. If we were sailing in the United States, I would tell you there are none. It's just because I know they are sourcing this cruise from, the majority of things are from Europe. So I haven't done that galley walkthrough yet. I haven't done that product walk. So I will know more and you will be informed. I'll also keep that information in the Facebook group and things like that. So, and also always come find me. I'm always happy, and along with the celiac disease representative on board, to answer any of those questions. For the dining guide, are all of those options included in our price we paid already? If not, what would cost additional? Everything on the dining guide is included in what you have already paid. So no additional fee at all. Worried about breakfast and lunch as I can only eat in a dedicated facility. No worries. The Solarium Bistro is 100% dedicated. So that's a dedicated facility. There is no gluten in that facility. So not to fret. You're good to
And
go
our
there.
dining room too.
Yes, in the dining room for dinner. Where the breakfast and lunch is where in the Solarium Bistro, excluding day one on day one, because we're really trying to make sure everybody gets in there and eats in a timely manner. Breakfast, lunch on day one is offered in the main dining room and the Solarium Bistro. But moving forward at that point, breakfast and lunch is in the Solarium Bistro, which is an amazing venue. It's you all will love it. So, but and then dinner is in the main dining room. Will there be food options for excursions for people to take off the ship? All right, this is being recorded.
I'll answer that
So
one. So legally, ethically, morally, no. But if you grab a sandwich from Park Cafe and stick it in your backpack and take it off the ship, then potentially, you've just taken food off the ship and we don't know anything about that. They do offer sandwiches in Park Cafe and Central Park,
in Cafe
during
Promenade.
Cafe Promenade during work during lunch hours. So if you had an early morning event, you would want to get it the day before and just keep it in your refrigerator or your cooler in the room. But typically their rule is no, you can't take food off the ship. So we can't tell you that you can, but we have had people take food off in the past and it wasn't a problem. I do know that sealed, like factory sealed bars and things like that are certainly allowed off the ship. And so is bottled water.
Yes. Yes, we always say there's rules, we don't write them. If we wrote the rules, you all would have to-go lunches for all of your excursions. But we don't write the rules, and that is not, cruise ships are not able to offer that in these ports of call. For port excursions, do you provide gluten-free guides for the port locations? Do you have any flexible options for earlier excursions and late excursions? Yes, part one of the question, we will be providing that gluten-free guide for port locations. We're in Italy, so I think, we'll have some pretty good options. I know that already. The AIC certified spots are phenomenal. A few of those ports. We'll also Yes, so we'll report back, give you that document you'll receive prior to the cruise. Do you have any flexible options for early excursions? The breakfast, you will be surprised. The breakfast will always operate before the ship gets in port. So, that they know that people want to eat before they get off the ship. So, that timing is always going to make sense for you to be able to eat early before you get off the ship. As it relates to dinner, our seating is what it is, and that's why we have those additional options we talked about that will be listed on the dining guide that you can have if you get back late. And then again, I keep saying, you always have that trusty fourth meal at 10 p.m., which they usually do try and open early. That would be a great option, and it's not a snack by any stretch of the imagination. Oh yes, Solarium dedicated facility. That is, yes, breakfast and lunch. That is where you will go for our dedicated breakfast and lunch. I'm also a diabetic and I've always taken a protein bar with me off the ship. I've always taken packaged Wassau crackers with me in Italy before. Oh, so I guess we kind of just covered that. Yes, packaged food, prepackaged food, not an issue. They're not going to say a word. It's just kind of the sandwiches and the things that we were talking about, why we're not, packing you a beautiful to-go lunch. So yes. Are we able to pay for gratuities for the staff before the cruise?
Yes. So as part of the Celiac Cruise contract, you've already paid for your gratuities for the staff. The cash that you would give in those envelopes is just extra for people that you have gone above and beyond that you want to thank. Prepackaged gluten-free bars, yes, you can bring those off on the ship. Anything prepackaged, like bars, you can bring. There's a question about, can I use the wristband for paying for the drinks? So our wristband is just a plastic wristband vinyl that is just gets you into the Celiac Cruise events. Royal Caribbean does sell a wristband that for $15, I believe, and you can use that as your room key card to get in and out of your cabin. And you can also buy drinks and things using that tappy tappy, but that doesn't work when getting on and off the ship. So that's something you could purchase from Royal Caribbean directly. How can
How can
gluten
they?
eaters, oh, sorry,
No, no, no.
partic-
You go. You
participate
go.
in celiac cruise access in other areas? So if gluten eaters want to eat gluten, there is plenty of gluten for them to eat. Say that like Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers, but anyway, there is food all over that they can go get. Gluten-containing pizzas, gluten-containing sandwiches, gluten-containing everything if they want to go eat that. And that is available, even gluten in the Windjammer, the buffet if they want to go there. Our area is dedicated gluten-free, and there's no gluten allowed in our dining room. They're in our areas at all. They cannot bring food in. They cannot bring gluten-containing drinks into our area. Everything in our area is safe and gluten-free. I know you mentioned you're going to include a list of port of call dining options. Just wanted to initially ask, what's been your experience so far? Are we going to have any options in any port?
I can answer that. We did a similar itinerary, not identical to this. Similar itinerary last year, I believe. And there are options. We really obviously prefer to provide you the dedicated gluten-free options. And obviously in Italy, we are in a good position there. Other option, the other locations, it's a little harder sometimes to find dedicated. But we have many people on the ground that we work with who are in those locations doing that vetting for us, asking those questions that we all want to know. We obviously rely on more than just the apps. We have people actually asking questions, making phone calls, going in there themselves, seeing how things are operating. So if you see it on our dining guide, um, I would feel confident that they'll be, you'll be in good position. But I would also, you still have to speak and communicate your needs and things like that if it is not a dedicated facility. But you know, I I think we'll be in pretty good shape. I think, obviously the location might not be right next to where your excursion is. I mean, that would be the thing. You may have to jump in a taxi or, transportation to get to that location. But, obviously specifically Italy, there is a plethora, and I would actually encourage you all to try. There's some pretty amazing pizza. And gosh, Sorrento, I still dream about the pizza I had in Sorrento. When we leave the ship for excursions, some are very early. Is it hectic getting off the ship? Tips for getting to an excursion on time.
So, if you buy an excursion through Royal Caribbean, you get a short excursion ticket and they tell you when and where to meet. And it's very organized. It's very easy. It's not very stressful. This ship is too big to be able to really tender anywhere usually. So usually this ship pulls right up to the dock and you get right off. So the tips for getting to an excursion on time is just read your ticket.
And plan a little extra time. I'm famous for not doing so. So, if you need to, and also reading ahead at in the app, they'll give you the cruise compass. You can read that, or you can also ask for a paper copy. I am famous for just having my CPass card and then realizing when I get all the way downstairs that this was one of those, 10 ports that I needed a photo ID. So that kind of stuff, really can mess you up. So, allowing some extra time. So
And
reading, I would encourage you to read that information that they give you.
quick note about ID, don't bring your passport. Bring your photo ID, like your driver's license. You don't need to be walking around Europe with your passport. So, if we're wanting to tip extra, should we tip in euros or US dollars, it doesn't matter. Whatever you want to tip in, they're going to be happy to receive it because they can use it anywhere. Do you give us lanyards with plastic cards holders as part of our welcome package? Yes, we've ordered them. We aren't sure where, we had this one cruise. We've had how many cruises now?
This
30?
will this will be we're about to have 35.
Okay. So 35 times we did, but one time they didn't show up. So yes, you do get lanyards with plastic card holders as part of the package. We've ordered them, we've paid for them, but they were shipped to Port Canaveral and flown to Barcelona, and we're not to Barcelona yet, so we're not sure. I'm 99.9% sure, but yes, we do order them, and we hope that we will have one for just for you, for everybody.
For
For
those of
those
us
booked on, oh, go ahead.
I'm going to answer this because I took this actual excursion. So for those of us booked on the Royal Caribbean excursion, should we touch base with the excursion desk to tell them there's a dietary need, especially those that are long 10-hour trips where food establishments may be a part of the trip, or just rely on prepackaged snacks and not take part in the meal options. So again, you probably live the same way. We trust. You don't really know. Yes, they can sit there and say, oh, sure, we can offer that. I don't ever think there's harm in telling people, but whether you actually feel confident in eating that food is a whole nother thing. We are obviously not going to encourage you to eat something unless you know 1000% it is coming from a place that you trust. The ship is the safest place always. Obviously, dedicated gluten-free places off the ship are great options too. I did this similar thing. There wasn't food that was actually included in it, but they gave you free time. And this is when these dining guides are going to come in handy. This Sorrento place, the time in which we were given the free time, it was at or around lunch. It may have been a little early for lunch, but that's when we were like, oh my gosh, we're going to go to this pizza place in Sorrento. And we went in and ate like kings and queens, and we're good for the rest of the day until we got back for dinner. So obviously, most of us always travel with prepackaged snacks anyways, just in case bars, I call them. But I think that most of those locations, I know there's also great food in Naples. Capri, I haven't been to yet, but Positano, I know there's phenomenal places. I mean, we were just in Italy a few days ago. There's a part of the regular breakfast buffets. There's, packaged gluten-free bread lying around. You don't even have to ask for it. So it's just kind of a different standard in Italy, quite refreshing. But I think, for the most part, there'll be food available that you can find.
The last
Um,
question, just to clarify, can we board anytime after 11? So, yes, sort of. So, here's the way it works. So, the morning that you get on, there's 5,000 people getting off the ship. And once everybody gets off and they get all the way down to 0 people on the ship, then they can start letting people back on. So they do have to wait for customs to clear the vessel. They have to wait for everybody to get off the ship, get to 0 count, and then they'll start letting people back on. They let the suites and the Pinnacle people get on first, and then they start letting other people on. So 11 is kind of a rough estimate of time. Usually they start boarding by about 10:30-ish, 11-ish. But, something could happen and it could be earlier or later, but around 11 is when we usually suggest that people try to get to the pier, 11:30. So here's one more. Um, how do we know we're handing our luggage to the right porter when we bring it to the ship? Yes. So when you get to the ship, to the port, each ship will have its own drop-off area. So you're going to drive right up in front of the ship, and that's where you're going to be. And all the people that are dropped off there are only going to our ship. So if there's another ship in port, it's going to be like down the road a half a mile. So you don't have to worry about dropping your luggage at the wrong place. If you see the ship, then you're at the right place. That's a great question.
Very much. And don't panic if you forget luggage tags. Again, you're hearing all of my strengths and weaknesses. I never have my luggage tags. You can just tell the porter I'm in cabin 2432. They'll write it down on there. stick it on there, and I get my luggage without problem. So don't panic if that's, the one thing you forget. So,
Awesome. Wow.
right.
What a
Very
great,
good.
great bunch of questions. This is awesome. If you think of anything, feel free to just send us a quick email. We are recording this, so we will certainly send the recording out right away as soon as we get it uploaded to our website. And for those of you that are watching on the recording, we look forward to seeing all of you in just a couple of weeks in Barcelona. Wow. And it's going to
Yeah.
be a great cruise. So thanks so much for your attention, your time, and for joining us. Have a wonderful day.
All right. See you later, buddy. Bye.